Okay, and now this is Visual Studio Code. So when you go on the website, you download it, you install it, you open it, you run it, you should be greeted with a screen that looks something like this. Um, so this is where you're going to do all of your code if you want to run it locally. So this is not in the browser now. So this is in Visual Studio Code. You're going to have all these different tabs down here. You're going to have this. It's going to look like there's a lot of stuff going on, but there's only a couple of things you really need to focus on. So the very first thing is this tab right here. This is your Explorer tab. And this is where you are going to pretty much open up a folder. So somewhere, so I'll give you an example, okay? So here I have my documents folder. And in my documents folder, I have a Hello World folder and I have this hello world.js script in here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete this real quick because I actually am going to show you how to create it. But what you want to do is, ideally, you want to open up your File Explorer. Now, if you have Windows, this is going to look a little different, obviously, but you want to open up your File Explorer and you want to go somewhere in some directory where you know you're going to be able to find things, and you want to create a folder for whatever it is that you're working on. So if it's an assignment, you're going to create a new folder, and you're going to name that folder assignment, whatever it is that it is, right? Assignment one, assignment two, etc. Um, in this case, I just created a folder called Hello World. And then what you can do is, I'm not sure if this works on Windows or not, but I do know this works on Mac. But if you're on Mac, what you can do is you can take this folder and you can drag it, and you can, if you release it from being dragged and you release it right here, it'll actually open up this directory. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to have to do open folder and manually navigate to the directory that you want to work out of. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this, and there we go. Okay, now we're in the Hello World folder, and that's what this looks like. And so this, you can see how it goes up and down. That's because now this Hello World folder is closed, and now it's open, but we don't have anything in here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to create files and how to do all of that in a second. But for right now, what we want to do is I want to show you how to get those extensions, okay? So there are a couple of extensions that you're going to want. There is the Prettier extension that is optional. The ESLint extension is also optional. I highly recommend both, but you really don't have to have them if you don't want them. And the only other extension that you're going to want to have is the Runner extension, okay? So this is where the extensions are. Okay, so if you click on this, this is what it's going to look like. They give you some recommended extensions down here as well, but we can close that. We don't have to look at those right now. Here are all of the extensions that I use. You guys can go ahead and pause the video and look through these and see if there's any that you want to, any additional ones that you want. But the main one you're going to want is this one. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Okay, and it's going to be code runner, and it's going to be dot run. And if you type that into here, code runner, it'll be right here. And when you click on it, you can install it. Okay, you just click on it and click install, and that's it. And then the other one that I highly recommend is ESLint. This one's really nice. And then the last one is Prettier, and that's this one down here. Okay, you don't have to get those last two if you don't want, but definitely get Runner, because if you don't have Runner, you're not going to be able to run your code. Okay, the rest of this stuff, don't worry about it. Live share, don't worry about. This is my GitLab stuff. Don't worry about that. Debug, don't worry about debug. Don't worry about source control. This is all you really need to worry about. Once you have the extensions that you want installed, you can go ahead and go in here and you can start doing whatever it is that you need to do. Okay. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing that we did in Repellent. So let's go ahead and, well, Repellent automatically gives you a file, right? They automatically give you an index.js file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create our own index.js file. Okay, and this is how that's going to look. And you can name this file anything you want. It doesn't have to be index. Index is just kind of like the main way to do it. That's typically how JavaScript developers do it. But you can name this anything you want. I'm going to name this one Hello World .js. Okay. Um, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same code. We're going to do console.log. and we're going to say hello world, just like that. And that's it. And then you do Control S to save. Um, and now to run it, you right click and you're going to get this menu and you're going to want to click on this run code. And this is how you get the runner. Okay, this you won't have this if you do not have this installed. And sometimes it'll ask you to restart Visual Studio Code. It might ask you to do that. I don't know if Code Runner does or does not, but if you don't see this, if you install Code Runner and you don't see this run code, try restarting your Visual Studio Code. Okay, that'll probably fix whatever issue you have. Okay, so we're gonna run it, and when you run it, this is what it looks like. Okay, it's gonna say "Hello World," and that's it. You're pretty much off to the races if you can get it to run. If you can't get it to run, and you really want to use it, just do some Googling, try to see if you can resolve it somehow. If you cannot, I wouldn't worry about it then. I would just go ahead and use the Repellent. Repellent's great. I've actually, the very first class I ever took when I started to learn to program, it was actually a JavaScript class, and that's what I used. I actually used Repellent for my very first JavaScript class when I first learned how to program, and I used Repellent for the entire class, and I did, I ended up getting an A. Repellent is great. If you can do Visual Studio, even better. So, okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll see you in the class.